What's up, Steph heads that are joining us right out of the gate? Thank you, Mark Kremer. Happy Wednesday. Hit that like, everybody, as soon as you come in the door.
We've got entirely too many troublemakers here. We've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
Beef jerky?
No, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind, something terrible.
Oh.
Captain's log.
I'd like to kick his ass just once.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Michigan gave us Motang.
A chat with you and somehow death loses its sting.
I know words, I have the best words.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges.
5 eggs in a month. 5 eggs.
Wow.
Brett Kavanaugh.
Transit site.
The mic is on now. It's fine. You know what? Scratch what I said. I'm starting over. That's it. No. We're going back to the beginning. I don't care. Nope. Nope. Not at all. I'm kidding. I'm fine. It's totally fine. Welcome to the show. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Send that like out right now. You can always rescind it later if the show sucks. That's the nice thing about YouTube likes is you can unclick them. It's a very it's a great way to scrub your past. You know, just imagine like, you know what? Okay, I'm trademarking this even before I fucking say it. So don't steal my idea. But this is it. I don't know if I'll call it unlike.com. Maybe I'll do it for free, unlock.org. But it's a service that goes back over your social media and just unlikes everything you ever liked, just in case. Right? Now you could open a shirt shop. I kind of actually do have one. Whoops, Georgina. Yeah. It's on the YouTube. I think the link should be below, but it's a Teespring store, and we put it in the chat. Got a lot of cool shirts and merch there. I try. I do occasionally do the party foul where you shouldn't wear your own merch is the idea. Usually that only applies to band T-shirts, but I am in totally like fuck it zone with that, because if I don't do it, it's not like it's everywhere. Bands shouldn't do it if they're big enough where people recognize the band. But if nobody knows who you are, knock yourself out. The dude from Kingdom Come used to walk around all the time. And he had a Kingdom Come shirt on all the time, which sounds weird. But he would wear that all the time. And I was like, meh, I know who you are, dude. We all know who you are. But he was European, so we gave him a pass. Anyways, so we have plenty of T-shirts and other merch and that kind of stuff. Please check it out. If you're on the Twitch store is really good. That's a cool store, too. There's links on the Twitch channel to that, and we'll put them in there, I suppose. And anyways, a couple of things right out of the gate. Phil is under the weather, so he won't be with us second hour today. So it's just the two of us. It's like old times. Seems like old times. It's just you and me. Boston Brian's here though. That's lovely. We could certainly. You have an NFT shirt? Please? Yeah, those are good. I'm very proud of those. And considering the money laundering aspects of NFTs are back in the news, that's a joke that I thought would go away very quickly, and it has not. Oh, I wish I had the day off too, Boston Brian. But when you do, at your leisure, see you soon. It'll be great. But be careful. Don't get your thumb caught in anything you don't want it to be caught in. I don't even know how I mean that. Anyways, yes, and somebody's asking for Sanctuary. I think this is more appropriate.
Transat Sykes.
For a couple reasons. One is, I would like, if I may, is it okay with you guys if I show people how it's done? I mean, it's kind of what I do all the time anyways. It's kind of what my whole show is about. Like, let me show you how it's done. That's it's almost like what my my autobiography should be called. Let me show you how it's done. But specifically, this is how it works, and it is not difficult. Now, hold your cringe reflex for a second and understand where I'm going. Just pause for a second and take a deep breath. All right? Hold for a second, because you're going to want to react right away. And I want to teach you to kind of draw that reaction back a little bit. Is that okay? All right, let me check in. Hold on, chat. You good? You with me? Because I'm going to show you something. Your natural reaction is going to be like, ugh. But on the other hand, I'm going to go, hey, tap the brakes. It's a good moment to be the bigger person, to show that you have the actual character traits that go along with your perceived or presented ethics. What you say to the world is actually who you are. Let me give you an opportunity to be that way. Right here. Ladies and gentlemen, see this lady? We've had our issues with her, certainly, over time. She certainly has some stuff. But she is recovering from surgery right now. She had a blood clot from a diagnosed disease that women get. And around the pelvic area. Hold those jokes. Hold hold. Okay, now let go. Now hold tighter. Now let go. Now hold tighter. No, I'm kidding. All right, never mind. I'm dead serious. She had an acute blood clot in her leg that can be very dangerous, can lead to deep vein thrombosis. It is not a good thing to have happen to you. And let me just say, all political stuff aside, I wish her a speedy recovery for her and her family and her children and all that kind of stuff, that she is healthy enough to be a pain in their ass very, very soon. Just, I don't think she deserves it. I don't think it's karma. I don't think anybody that gets ill or has some sort of surprise situation that could give them a stroke later in life or damage their life. I find no value in wishing that on anybody, and I'm glad she's recovering. That's it. When someone is healthy again, then we'll get back to taking the piss and doing all of our stuff. But this in particularly, that's how you do it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. It's super. See how easy that was? See how easy that was. I don't want anybody to clutch their chest, grab their, feel their stomach or their appendix, their right side, or their head, and worry and fear that they might have a fucking aneurysm or any of that shit. Like, no, I don't wish that on fucking anybody. And from a point of view of that there are evil fuckers in the world, you guys know I absolutely believe that. But I also believe that if the Lord wants that person taken care of in an acute, specific way, they will put me between them and whatever awful they are attempting to do. If I'm ever planted in that situation, clearly that's the go-ahead from the Lord that they want this person done and dusted. But in the abstract, from a distance, that's why we have a rule of law culture. That's why we presume innocence on people's part. And that's why we never wish illness and death on somebody when they still have the chance to redeem themselves, turn their life around. Okay? See that? That's it. That's it. It's not okay. Now, since I've done that, on the other side, I would like to panic the living fuck out of all the maggots watching. Can I do that next? Okay. So, Lauren Boebert, if you are watching, you are recovering from surgery, please turn off the computer machine and just, yes, hell with a cinder block. Some people deserve a potato peeler, but then they get the cinder block if they're lucky. It's the thing. So I'm about to just, if you're with her and you're in the hospital, you got the remote, take the remote from her and turn off the TV or the laptop, close the laptop, get her away from this. Because I'm telling you, this is going to freak her the living fuck out. This is going to be, there might be a collective vapor lock. If you see this out of context, what I'm about to show you, maggots, you might keel over. You just sit down for a second, okay? Sit down. I'm going to show you something, and it's gonna be, and it's not AI. It's not CGI. But I want to show you something. Hold on. I should probably frame this forward a little bit. Okay. Real quick. Here it comes. You ready? You ready? Here it comes. Hang on. This is
Thank you.
Look at that seal. Look at that guy. Look at that seal. Look at that guy. Look at that seal. Look at that guy. I just want you to enjoy the fucking... Can you imagine if these motherfuckers are flipping channels? Or they just click on C-SPAN. They're like, what the fuck? Oh, God. I just think that's so funny. Like, look at this. Is that funny? Okay. Like, he's, it is enjoying it. That's kind of it on the joke or whatever, but they didn't announce him as such, but...
Thank you. Let me begin by telling you what you and the American people know, and that is it's politically divided. Nobody doubts that. But there is one issue that the American people, whether they are Republicans, Democrats, or independents, whether they're conservative or progressive, are united on.
We'll see.
And that is that we are sick and tired of paying by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs.
Yeah, there's not a bridge across. A lot of right wingers think that that's how you fund all the other development, and other countries get it on the cheap because we pay a higher price, and if we stop paying a higher price, other countries will have to pay more, and so impoverished countries will do it, and blah blah. Yeah, the I don't know why let's see if I scroll down here, maybe I don't know why the audio on this fucker is lower. It's very strange. But anyways, he's introducing Biden to talk about this. This was today. And maybe they kick the audio up at some point. Yeah, I don't know why. It's weird. Yeah, I've got the volume all the way up on this thing. It's just weirdly low.
On average, we pay over 3 times as much as the people of other major countries for brand name prescription drugs.
Brand name being the thing. Also, other countries don't use like off-label usage of them. So when you use off-label stuff, you pay more out of pocket than you do in a country that, like the UK, where you can't use them off-label for other stuff. They're much stricter about that shit because it's our FDA that set the rules, not theirs, that kind of shit. Their own drugs, if they create them, there's a little more fluidity, but the vast majority of the ones that come from other countries, specifically the United States, but anywhere else, they don't allow them to be used for anything they aren't specifically for. Mexico notwithstanding, Tijuana and all that kind of stuff. This is, just so you know, there are reasons for this and why he's specifically saying, he's not saying generics and the like.
And in some cases, we are paying 10 or 20 times more than people around the world for the exact same product. Meanwhile, where we are getting ripped off, 10 top drug companies made over $110 billion in profit last year, and their CEOs make tens and tens of millions of dollars in compensation. The result of the high cost of prescription drugs is obvious. 1 out of 4 Americans cannot afford to purchase the prescriptions that their doctors write, and some of them will die as a result. Others get much sicker than they should.
Yeah, that's the majority of people.
And they end up in emergency rooms.
Which cost us more and actually causes the cost to be even higher.
So they end up...
It's like when people don't have insurance and they put off getting care, then the care to recover from the disease once it's past a certain point is more expensive.
In hospitals at great cost to our already bloated healthcare system.
Right. Showing up in emergency rooms to deal with something that is lifestyle or environmental, and therefore you could have had some sort of response to it earlier. You might have headed it off at the pass, that kind of shit.
Further, the very high cost of prescription drugs is not just an individual issue, what you pay. It is a taxpayer issue. It impacts all of us. It drives up the cost of Medicaid, Medicare, and other public health programs, as well as private insurance. The truth is that politicians have been talking about the high cost of prescription drugs for years.
Right. And then, whoops, shit, hold on. Get back out of here. Hold on. He introduces, hey, this guy, and then this guy comes up.
Chris, thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, thank you for the courage you've shown over the years dealing with your health issues, but also for standing up here before the whole nation and explaining to us what you've gone through. It's not easy to do. You know, trying to afford your expensive medications from blood disorders to asthma. Millions of Americans, millions, have similar stories, lying in bed at night, literally staring at the ceiling, wondering what in God's name will happen if their spouse gets cancer, or if their child gets sick, or something happens.
Let me see if I can find. I'll go to C-SPAN. Maybe C-SPAN has it louder. Just for the record, like normally I don't do videos on the top of the show, or on the morning show, anyways. But that's what they're talking about today. They're talking about lowering healthcare costs and the attempts that they're making to do this, and the actual progress that has been made in this administration that other administrations have just talked about. And Bernie making the introduction is not an accident, and Biden, more than likely requesting that he do it, and they work together on this kind of stuff to finally get this stuff implemented is an actual great thing. I just happen to think that the funny part where he introduced him and he's standing in front of the presidential lectern would freak the living shit out of the right wing. See if I can jump on, see if I don't. Sometimes C-SPAN's not any louder. Hold on. There we go. Boip. There we go. Here we go.
Literally, we're just not getting that.
Hold on. We'll pause this. Hold on. There we go. Let's see. And yeah, good. Let me Control plus this and make it a little bigger. Yeah. I'll scroll this down so I can just show you this.
Combined, they'll not have to pay a penny beyond $2,000 a year. And the drug companies will still make a lot of money. Folks, Bernie and I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for every American, not just seniors. We're here today to talk about how we're lowering prices and cracking down on unfair competition in prescription drugs. I'm a capitalist. Capitalism, though, without competition isn't capitalism, it's exploitation. That's what's going on. Exploitation. When Big Pharma doesn't play by the rules, competitors can't offer lower prices for generic drugs and devices that carry that medication, so prices are raised artificially. I thank Bernie for leading the charge to do something about this. For example, asthma is one of the most common respiratory illnesses in America. 27 million Americans have asthma, including 4 million children. Asthma causes about 1 million visits to hospital emergency rooms every year.
Which is, by the way, I've made this point before, that when you talk to somebody who's an asshole and doesn't believe in climate change and that kind of stuff, one of the things that you can make a bridge and you might be able to bring them to the table is talking about pollution, because they allegedly care about life and all that kind of shit. And pollution is specifically what sends 100,000 kids to the fucking emergency room every year related to their asthma. And that doesn't need to be. And the number has come down in recent years because of electric cars and because of better exhaust systems and all that kind of stuff. But if you live in an area where there's a lot of industrial buildings and whatnot, and like chemical plants and shit like that, like in South Carolina, places like that, you will find that the cases go up. It's not an accident. And so you can talk about pollution with these folks and maybe they'll understand it. You're not going to bring them all the way to the table, but you could bring them to the point where, can we not belch toxins into the air? You good with that? Okay, cool. We'll get to windmills and cancer and bird graveyards later, asshole. But right now, I think we can believe, we all know that if you sit in a closed garage with your car running, it's not good for your health.
Nationwide, the cost of treating asthma is estimated to be $50 billion a year. The treating asthma, not the drug, treating the asthma. If you have asthma, you're likely to need an inhaler to breathe. Now, this spring is here. The seasons and allergies are upon us. We're on the rise even more. More people with asthma need inhalers to breathe. You know, many asthma medications may have been on the market for more than 25 years. They cost less than $5 to make. It costs less than $5 to make. But the medication hadn't changed at all. Theoretically, if the drug company came with a new medicine that they invested a lot of money to find a better way, they wouldn't have to. They could argue another price. But drug companies have increased prices for asthma drugs up to 8 times more than the original cost. And the mechanism the mechanisms attached to the inhaler, the thing that makes it, go into your nose or mouth, that is a device that Medicare hasn't changed much either. Look, these big companies try to keep generic companies away from getting patents on devices that deliver the medicine through the inhalers. So there's 2 pieces. It's not just what's in the inhaler, it's the mechanism that allows it to go into your body. For example, they slightly changed the cap of inhaler, and they used the new patent on that cap to block generic drug companies from being able to enter the market. It's a big deal. Playing these games with patients and pricing, Big Pharma is able to charge Americans significantly higher prices.
Yeah, so just so you know, what he's talking about there is that there is a, when people use an inhaler, it does that tuft amount of it. It's a specific dosage. It isn't like just a spray cap on it that just you hold it and it just goes in. It's a specific dosage to when you use it, right? Because it's a medicine. It's not just it's like you wouldn't take pills if it in a way that it like came out of a toothpaste tube and you just squeezed it into your mouth. It's a specific dosage. And so modifying the inhaler so that the specific dosage click on it is specific only to it. Yeah, it's metered, exactly, Arizona sunflowers. And, modifying it and then patenting it ever so slightly is their way of keeping it from being, like any company from making something like that. Because you could make something, theoretically, almost any company could create a spray that does an exact amount, as much as any of those things, because they literally are, they're made in a factory. It's not like they have to be constructed by a doctor. They're, specific, metered inhalers. That's not hard to make. It's just they use the patent on that to kind of extend how they can grow the cost of the, expand the cost of the medicine. Just saying, for the record.
Had their profits. Senator Sanders has pointed out one company sells an inhaler for $49 in the United Kingdom. You know how much is charged in the United States for that one inhaler? $645. So I take $645. If you need
not the medicine, just the inhaler.
That inhaler, you get an Air Force One, but the next time you go to London, you can get off and you can get it for. I'm serious. Think about that, though.
By the way, that's what people do. They go to, you can buy those things in the regular pharmacies there. You don't have to have a prescription for the mechanism. You can just buy the mechanism there.
Just think about that. For the same exact medicine and the same exact device. It's outrageous. Another company sells an inhaler for $9 in Germany. $9 in Germany. And we pay $286 here in the United States. $9 in Germany, same outfit. Same company, same device. And so 30 times more. 30 times more, I repeat, it's outrageous. We're doing something about it finally.
Also, by the way, Germany, a much smaller country. You're not even talking about, they can do that because, would you argue that if it was a country like China or India, has huge numbers of people, like, in India, if they had 1 billion people, more than likely they have so many people statistically that might have asthma that you could sell it at cheaper because they're buying this large bulk of it, right? America's a much bigger country than Germany, and Germans don't have asthma at a higher rate than we do.
Why in God's name should an American pay $645 for the same inhaler sold in the United Kingdom for $49 by the same outfit?
Right. By the way, I'd like to remind everybody that you can buy hearing aids over the counter now thanks to this guy. Something that used to cost you, thousands of dollars now can be hundreds of dollars, and it's the exact same device. And you can go based on your hearing test and purchase them just like eyeglasses. It shouldn't be that difficult, but it was for a long time. And all of a sudden now all it took was Biden getting elected, and now we got that.
Same outfit. Bernie.
By the way, my dad just got a cochlear implant, but he used a hearing aid as well. For a long time.
Called out the drug companies during the congressional hearings. And you just heard from Lena Khan, the chair of the Federal Trade Commission, who's working with the Food and Drug Administration to crack down on these drug companies. And it's a big deal. As a result of all this action, some drug companies have withdrawn their abuse of patent listings for inhalers and other common.
Because it looks bad. That's the other thing. One of the things that helps in talking about this is a great example of the fucking bully pulpit. This is one of the areas where you can do this, because maybe you can't pass a law about it because the Republicans are running interference. By the way, VJ Kodak, thanks for the images. Andrea, sending a video. These are, she's sending me the video that she showed me. Anyways, cool. That him saying this, even though the Republicans will run interference for trying to stop this, there's a lot of public pressure that comes from this kind of stuff, and these companies will go, they called us out, we got to dump it. And a great example I always give is Starbucks. Starbucks at one point was not using fair trade coffee, and it wasn't like it was very expensive to use fair trade coffee versus the coffee they were getting, and they were expanding, and they were a relatively small company, certainly to what they are today. They weren't the McDonald's of coffee at the time, but they were pretty, like, throughout the West Coast and through, maybe they'd reached as far as Denver and maybe a couple in Chicago at that point. And some protesters showed up and were protesting the fact that they didn't use fair trade coffee, that their stuff was, maybe exploitative, or where they were buying their coffee from, and their awareness of it may have been that they knew and hid it, or that they didn't know at all. Doesn't matter. The point is that they were having a meeting about it, and the protest was going on, and they made a decision at that time. Fuck it. Let's just go fair trade then. It's going to cost us, but what kind of company do we want to be? And they made the decision on the spot. So maybe it was because they were smaller at the time. It was easier, right? But specifically, they made that decision on the spot. Now that was before Schultz left the company. So whatever, there might be some division on the behavior of the company as far as people's attitude towards him. But when he was there, that was one of the decisions that he made, where he was like, we're using fair trade from now on. And they still do.
On products like EpiPens. The last few weeks, some of the big drug companies have gotten the message to reduce the prices for some asthma drugs. Bernie's a big reason why that's happened. In fact,
You ever see, if this was Trump, he'd be going, and I don't get a lot of credit for that. If this was Trump, he would literally go, they're lowering those things, even if it was, Bernie haranguing them or somebody in his own party doing it or whatever, he'd go, they're going down and I'm president, so I should get credit for that. Biden's giving Bernie credit for that part of it, for caring about the issue and sticking to it. Right? We need OTC EpiPens. I agree. That's coming.
3 of the 4 largest companies are capping the cost of inhalers for many patients. That can be up to $600 out of pocket at $35. There's some progress going on beyond what we've.
Yeah. So did you hear what you just said? That the $600 to $35. 3 out of the 4 companies are doing that.
We've done the law, but it's about time. And going forward with more competition and more generic drugs in the market, the price could even be less than it is now, coming down. But that's not all. Because of all of you, my Inflation Reduction Act, drug companies that raise prices more than inflation are going to pay back Medicare the difference between what they charge and the inflation rate. This is based on the price of their drugs in 2021. That means consumers will pay less for prescription drugs, and they'll save taxpayers money and discourage companies from hiking prices faster than inflation in the first place. But we want to do more. It's time that drug companies pay rebates when they increase prices faster than inflation, not just for seniors, but for every single American. Every single American. And today's announcement follows action we've already taken to significantly reduce the health care cost for average Americans. We took action to reduce the cost of hearing aids for millions of Americans by as much as $3,000 for a pair of hearing aids. In addition, my administration is banning junk fees on health insurance plans. These are the plans that stick consumers with big unexpected charges instead of covering the care they need.
By the way, this is the part of Obamacare that they get used against Obama. Like, if you will like your doctor, you'll keep your doctor. Well, in insurance plans that won't pay for your ambulance ride, that wouldn't be covered under this. So if your doctor is the kind of person who will only be a part of a medical, I get an HMO or whatever that particular envelope of doctors in this area or whatever, if they'll only operate within one that won't provide those kind of baseline services where you're left holding the bag after if you're in a fucking car accident, then you're probably going to lose that as your primary care physician. If you got sent to them, if you got a note to go to this particular person, you'd still be able to go to them because of someone within the plan would be able to send you over to them. But if it's just your general provider and they're and for whatever reason they refuse to take payments from the Affordable Care Act or whatever the fuck because they can't certify or won't be a part of it, then you would lose that doctor. But you would gain not going broke if you're in a fucking accident. If you're hit by an uninsured driver and all kinds of other shit, and you didn't, you're fucking hit and run while you're crossing the street, whatever it is.
Look, I ended up with a surprise medical bill, so hospitals that are in network can't send you a bill for an out-of-network doctor you didn't choose or you haven't even consulted. I was in hospital for a while years ago, and that happened. Kamala and I are protecting and expanding the Affordable Health Care Act, known as Obamacare, which I might add is still a big deal. Today,
by the way, people in the White House, you should have him touch his face when he says that. By the way, which is still a big deal like that. Just that little joke. People will get it. Still a big deal. Just have him not say the word. Just cover his mouth. Be hilarious. Which I might add is a big deal.
thank God my mother wasn't here. Today,
he means when he said that the video came out of him.
21 million Americans are covered through the Affordable Care Act, 9 million more than when I took office. Exact tax credits, we enacted tax credits to save an average of $800 per person per year, reducing health care premiums for millions of working families who have coverage under the Affordable Care Act. These tax credits, though, expire. Can only get it through this year. And I'm calling on Congress to make tax credits permanent for this process.
Hey, but look, I understand why some of you would want to vote for RFK Jr. because who else will tell you the truth about Bill Gates wanting to put a chip in your head and that Biden's a bigger threat to democracy than Trump is, even though the things he accuses Biden of doing as far as censorship actually happened when Trump was president. He's something increasingly. Matt, I think I'm pretty loud on this one, so I apologize if it's being the video is quiet because of the nature of this, and I'm not quite sure why. It's just today the volume is very low on whatever source they're taking from here.
And folks, all of our progress is in stark contrast to my predecessor and mega Republicans in Congress. They want to quote, I love their word they love. They want to terminate the Affordable Care Act. I love it, terminate. As my predecessor says, kicking millions of Americans off their health insurance. And by the way, the vast majority of these people would not be able to get insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. They also want to eliminate the inflation.
But Trump is always saying, we'll protect people with pre-existing conditions. To which the second question should be how? Because the only way you're going to do that is by either enforcing it as a law and making companies do it, whether it's financially viable or not, or subsidizing that pre-existing condition with some baseline cost. That's the only way you're going to do it. One or the other. You either make them do it by legislation, or you pay for it so they don't have to do it. They don't have to be forced to do it via legislation. That's it. These are the two. There's no third route in this situation because they're not going to do it on their own, and you can't do without it. That's not another option. And by the way, when Trump says that, I think that's what he actually means. We're going to take care of people with pre-existing conditions. Just let them die naturally. That's what that seems to be the Republican healthcare plan. Because it's been, I don't know if maggots, we might have some maggots in the chat room, but let me know. Has it been more than 2 weeks since Trump said he would show us all his big, beautiful, powerful healthcare plan? It's been more than 2 weeks, right? Motherfucker, it's been more than 2 years. It's almost, we'll be closing in on a decade in 2 more years.
Inflation Reduction Act, eliminate the savings to lower prescription drug prices, and so much more. During the last administration, my predecessor exploded the national debt more than any previous president in the history in a 4-year term. More than any he talks about the debt, he exploded it more than any other president in a 4-year term.
Yeah, pervert Hoover, I think, is what Midas Touch calls him. And that's Trump.
With his $2 trillion tax cut that overwhelmingly benefited the very wealthy and the biggest corporations in America. Now he and his Republicans in Congress want to cut Social Security, raise the age, and cut Medicare, while they cut taxes for the very wealthy again.
Right.
You know, I got a better idea. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare along with Bernie and other members of Congress to make sure the wealthy begin to pay their fair share to keep these programs solvent. Not hard. And let me repeat what I said that even some people like Bernie didn't like at the beginning. I don't blame him. But I said in day one, to make a point, no one in America will pay a single penny more in federal taxes if they make less than $400,000 a year. I wish I was able to do that. I was listed, and Bernie used to kid me about it, I was listed as the poorest man in Congress for 36 years. I didn't think I was poor. I got a good salary, but it was the poorest man in Congress. Trump brags about he's the reason Roe v. Wade was overturned. Here's his quote: "I did something no one thought possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade," end of quote. And now he and his MAGA officials are calling on for a national ban on the right to choose in every state. I promise you, with the Democratic Congress, Kamala and I will make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again. I promise you. I'm talking too long here. Let me close with this. I'm excited about this. I'm really proud of what we've been able to do. I really am. Bernie and I have been doing this work for a long time. I know we don't look it, but we've been doing it a long time. Bernie and I have something else in common. We both married way above our stations. But at any rate, but we know we've made historic progress in the last 3 years. $35 for insulin for seniors, $35 a month for inhalers, for asthma, $2,000 a year total cap on costs for seniors. We're lowering the cost of some of the most expensive prescription drugs for seniors. And what I want to do next, what we want to do next, is these caps and costs for everyone, not just seniors. With Bernie's help, we're showing how health care ought to be a right, not a privilege in America. And that's why I've never been more optimistic about it. I really mean it. You've heard me say in this very room how optimistic I am. Optimistic because the laws we got passed are now coming into effect, whether it's infrastructure or whether it's this. I mean, there's so much more. We have to, and I've said this many times, and I'll get out of your hair. You know, we have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America. I mean, this is from the bottom of my heart. We're united. There's nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. We're the only nation, as a student of history, that I can find that's come out of every crisis we've entered stronger than we went in, every single time. So let's remember who they are. We're the United States of America. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
Please welcome back to stage Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you all.
Bernie is very red right now. He's very pink. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they had a fry light on him during the entire thing, or he's just blushing because he's standing up there with Joe.
For the world's central kitchen strike, Mr. President.
What is it? Wait, what's she yelling? The central kitchen strike? They're announcing this program. Simmer down. There you go. So that was that morning part chat room. Yeah, Joe just showing his respect and work with Bernie on this particular issue. Very like nicely done. Very, yeah. The odd part was like, yeah, I'm not quite sure, because people just yell things out and it's hard to track exactly. Let me show you something real quick, if I may. So remember how there's a couple of these points, and we'll in the second hour we'll talk about Ukraine a bunch more because there's a lot going on there, and a lot that's been going on, like current stuff. But I want to show you something that's kind of a little bit of a past story, and that's that a lot of people were talking about the fact that America warned Russia that this terrorist event was going to happen, right? And the shit on America crowd. Like Jimmy Dore and that crowd, or they all took that as like, yeah, of course they told them because they planned it. It was all the CIA and whatever, all that nonsense, right? Because I got to say, if you're looking for an online grift, I got to say, going after the CIA is probably your best bet, because they can't respond. You know what I mean? Like, literally go after, it's like going after undercover policemen or something. Like, they can't, like, they've got a bunch of racists as the undercover cops. These are, yeah? Like who? Well, we can't say because we'd have to show you who the cops are. And we don't know, but I'm assuming that guy looks like an undercover cop to me. That kind of shit. You can just make shit up. You can just spackle the gaps in your knowledge with conspiracy. That's what the conspiracists do, right? And the same thing is true of of the stuff around the attack, the terrorist attack that was, that ISIS. Not only did they claim that they did it, but they later, to prove they did it, showed video that their guys filmed while doing it. They're like, no, it was really us. Here's an angle only the murderers could have. Only the terrorists could have. This was a like GoPro on this motherfucker as he murdered people. And that's our footage. It's that, right? So anyways, but the idea was it still floated around, false flagging nonsense, whatever they want to talk about. It's just goofy. But it turns out that the U.S. wasn't the only country that warned Russia about an imminent terrorist attack from ISIS. Iran also did. Yeah. Iran tipped off Russia about the possibility of a major terrorist operation on its soil ahead of the concert hall massacre near Moscow last month. 3 sources familiar with the matter said. In the deadliest attack inside Russia in 20 years, gunmen opened fire with automatic weapons at concert goers on March 22nd at the Crocus Hall, killing at least 144 people in violence claimed by the Islamic State militant group, which they have since posted video that I have fucking seen and can't unsee. The United States had also warned Russia in advance of a likely militant Islamist attack, but Moscow, deeply distrustful of Washington's intentions, played down that intelligence. But they're friends with Iran. They blew that shit off too. So there's a couple of, I suppose, a couple of possibilities. I'm sure there's a myriad of possibilities. One could be that they're such paranoid, distrustful assholes that they don't want to hear it from anybody. The other one is that they knew and they let it happen because they knew they could benefit from it, or they could blame Ukraine for it, or they could use it to create more draconian rules within their country. Yeah. So just saying, like that is now, and again, it's not even a guess at this point that the Islamic State did this. They not only claimed that they did it, when people didn't believe it, they posted video from the terrorists doing it, from cameras mounted on them. And still, Russia's like, yeah, it's probably Ukrainians anyways. Yeah, so Ukrainians they're Nazis and Islamists working together, which I think is what we call Syria. But anyways, that just thought I'd throw that in there for for the record. While Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are having joint press conferences to announce the capping of drug costs for vulnerable Americans, this is what like Russians and right wingers and the Scott Ritters of the world are trying to sell. Should we check in on is DJT let's see, DJT stock, because it bumped up because it's a meme stock right now. Sorry, there you go. Sorry. That's Dow Jones. Oh, I don't know what the Dow Jones thinks, you silly. Not the DJT stock price, I guess. Stock price. Yeah, there we go. It's today. Stock slips. Trump is suing. Oh, this is the other thing too. Let's see. I want to make sure this is current. Yeah, this is 2 hours ago. Trump Media and Technology Group stock was falling early on Wednesday. Here we go. This is a good time. 0.3% to 51.47. It went up from 48. Is it 49.55 right now? See, this is even going down now because it's a meme stock. So people like Trump supporters are just dumping their fucking money into it to keep him afloat. Right. The stock price closed up 6%, 51.60 on Tuesday. Valuing True Social at $5.9 billion, partially recouped a steep fall in the previous day as the shares swung dramatically. So people are swooping in to buy it, and foreign investors can just shoot a bunch of money into this and sit on it, and they don't care. It's a bribe anyways, so it's just legalized bribery in this current form. Especially if they call him and they let him know. We're buying about $7 million worth of your stock, click, and that's it. And then they buy it and sit on it, and he has to kiss their ass later, or they'll sell it at a loss. They can short it and fuck with him. That's the other thing, too. Any one of these people who own big chunks of this stock can just short him, and and if they do it, if they have enough of it, they can short it and cause a crash of it. It's not that hard. And since there are no real there's no real company there, it's the only reason they're buying it is just to, is to manipulate Trump, make him a friend or wreck him. It's ridiculous. So, anyways, he is suing Wesley Moss and Andrew Latinsky for their stock shares because they founded Trump Media and they didn't set it up properly. Asshole, that's what you hire people to do. You're supposed to hire people, and if they're not in the process of setting it up properly, then you get rid of them then. You don't, after it's already up and running and you've gone public and all this kind of shit, sue them for their stock. Why didn't they sue them first? Because these guys aren't even a part of it anymore. They just have their stock, and they've moved on. They've left or handed over the reins to Devin Nunes or whoever the fuck. And so, they have 8.6% stake in Trump Media, right? And he's got 57%. It looks like he's trying to get over 60% so that he can outweigh everybody as far as writing checks and stuff. So he has 60% of the stock plus, and that's one of the ways to get it is sue for it, and try to impoverish them, or they have to sell some of their stock, for example, to pay for their legal fees would be the thing. Yeah. How? Because he doesn't gatekeep. I agree, Pat. I don't even know if these people are qualified or they should, be sued. It doesn't matter because the whole thing's a fucking farce. Trump is the majority owner in the company with a stake of 57%. He's set to receive millions more shares based on an earnout agreement. Trump's media price to sales valuation is far ahead of social media peers, such as Reddit and Meta. The company's revenue came to $4.1 million for 2023, and it posted a net loss of $58.2. Okay, this is a good lesson in revenue versus profits, kids, because there's a big difference between revenue versus profits. And Donald Trump has been running on the idea that it's like on a zero profit matrix as far as his business has been since the fucking 90s. Since he took it over from his dad, legally or illegally, it's hard to say, because that whole John Barron thing was him bullshitting his way around his ownership of the country, or pressuring his relatives to, his sister and his brother to like drop their shares or whatever the fuck his other brother dropped their shares and let him run the company. And so he called saying that Fred had handed it over to him and that he was basically, it's like so fucking lame and gross. It's such a, like a shit, like Knots Landing kind of soap way of living. It's gross. Anyways, so in this particular instance, the idea, what you do is you run this as your own piggy bank. You don't ever turn a profit. The cost of the company or the failure of the company is passed on to your investors or whoever's holding the fucking bag, and then you just scoop out whatever money you need to run your lifestyle during that time. Which somebody not too long ago stated was $25 million. You could have Trump's lifestyle, the plane, all that kind of stuff, with about $25 million a year. It's not anywhere near the alleged money that he supposedly has or any of this. So what he's going to do is just scrape off. If you need 25, scrape off 50 million a year out of there for yourself as an officer of the company or some shit like that, paying yourself out and using these like sappy motherfuckers, the maggots to keep just flooding money, just buy the stock artificially and keep it pumped up. Because anytime it's above $2, he's able to scrape off that amount of money. That's why it's going to be a functioning scam for a while. Yeah. Hi, Susan. No. So yeah, specifically, that's why it says revenue came to 4.1 million, not profits came to 4.1. There are no profits. They are in the hole, $54 million. Yeah, that's how Trump actually made money off the Trump University settlement. That's exactly right, Chris. Because he was scraping money the whole fucking time. He just takes it out of there and then leaves whoever's still there. It's like music. It's a musical version of or like a musical chairs version of finance. Just the last one holding the bag. It's just an inversion of that idea. So anyway, so he's suing these other two guys so he can get their stock options or whatever. There's the 8.6%, 8.7% stocks they have in the company. So that it gets him over 60%, gives him more outsized control, but also that he can, if he gets theirs, he can sell theirs and still maintain his majority. He can only sell so much of it, without crashing it. You can only, if you start selling chunks of it, people are going to go, oh, this motherfucker's cashing out early because he knows it's ass. And the minute he starts doing that, everybody else goes too. And you got to announce when you're going to do it if you're an officer of the company and you have that, right? Yeah, it's not going to last because it's a meme stock, and none of the meme stocks last. And especially when somebody's got their thumb on the scale like this. Yeah, so what he wants, I think, it seems like he's trying to get these guys stock, and he can sell their stock quickly for the cash, and keep his number that he has or whatever without triggering some sort of other one. Yeah, sorry. Staff chat asked a question. Was there somebody other question? I thought you couldn't be president and you have any debt, or if Trump has someone paying his bills. No, you can have debt as a president. You're supposed to just disclose it. You can't get. It's weird because you can't get security clearance. Like Donald Trump could never get security clearance by the measures for even like a baseline job at the FBI or the CIA or the DOD or anywhere. Like if you wanted to be a member of the swamp and he worked there, he'd never be able to get hired. He wouldn't pass. First of all, he wouldn't pass the fucking lie detector test, but the polygraph. But he's too financially leveraged. They wouldn't trust him. But technically anybody can get elected president. If the public says that's okay with us, then that's okay with us. So that's how he gets around it. That's the leverage. Does that make sense? Yeah, he couldn't be a fucking clerk. He couldn't get a lot of state jobs, like state government jobs, because of how leveraged he is. Right? Yeah. Hold on one second. Why is this, you silly thing? Open up, you silly page. Yeah, and then the other thing is that at his the little stop he made people yelled at him, "Do you support the 6-week abortion ban in Florida?" He said, "We'll make a statement next week on abortion." That was his response. Hey, you guys remember? Fuck. Remember when Trump was going to do that? He was going to have that big news conference on a Monday. It's like, on Monday, I'm going to show you all the evidence of all the fraud. And I'm going to hold this press conference, and we're going to just show you all the evidence. You remember that? Remember how excited I got? You guys remember that? I was like, oh shit, this is going to be hilarious. Let's do this. No, like, note, there was very specifically, I mean, he was talking about evidence would come out all the time, but he was like, this Monday, I'm going to have this big press gaggle and explain it all to you, and I'm going to show you the evidence, and we're going to have it all organized, and we'll hand it out. Everybody will get like a packet of the stuff, and yeah. Did he ever do that? Anybody remember what happened to that Monday? Besides, it came and fucking went. Right. That's the same thing here. That's this thing. Somebody yelled this. By the way, they booed. Someone yelled, "Do you support the 6-week abortion ban?"
We'll be making a statement next week on abortion. We're going to make a statement next week on abortion.
Yeah, so they it's weird. They start chanting USA at this thing to drown out the reporters' questions. Now, real quick, and chat, I'd like to feel free to chime in on this. By the way, like, subscribe, with a thumbs up, support the show. The Venmo thing isn't up, but if you've ever done that before, send me a cup of coffee or something like that if you feel like it. And, of course, subscribing on Twitch is a great thing. It's a great way to help the channel. And also memberships on Super Chats and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so patreon.com/HalSparks. All right, I'll end it up. So, if you'll recall, he does this a lot. He does this, I'm going to make a big announcement, or we're going to show you what our plan is, and then it just never fucking happens, right? And the reason is because, A, he cannot support this 6-week ban. He can't. That'll keep him from getting elected flat out. That's it. I mean, you're just printing an ad for Democrats at that point. You just are. Because it's fucking lunacy, right? A nationwide 6-week ban. Most women don't even know they're pregnant at that point. It's just absurd. So he's not going to announce that one. He's also, if he's going to come out and go, we want a nationwide 16-week moratorium with an exception for the life, rape, incest, and life of the mother, right? Health of the mother. Those will be the thing. If he comes forward with that, he loses half of his evangelical support. Half of them will think he's lying on purpose because he knows he can get away with it. The other half will think he's serious and will drop him and just not vote. So he can't say anything. It's they have painted themselves into a fucking corner, and it's just goofy. Phil is under the weather today. He's okay, but he's a little ill. He's sick, so he's taking it easy today. So we will see him again on Saturday. So there you go. But if Trump comes out with a statement, if a Democrat comes out with a statement, if Joe Biden came out and said, "Look, we need a nationwide standard for Roe v. Wade, but also deals with the legality of abortion," and ultimately is that nobody believes you should legally be able to have an abortion based on a viable fetus past a certain date. And that date's probably halfway through the pregnancy or later, maybe certainly the third trimester. I think that's the rule out. And so that's where the life of the mother part comes in. You might have it a little earlier or a little like leeway for rape and incest, those kind of things. But that's the window, right? And most people are with that. And by the way, you're not having women with elective abortions in the 8th month. It's just fucking dumb. Right? So even if you set the rule at that, it's not something that's going to affect anybody, and it's just weird. So at that point where you're like viable fetus and viability being it could survive outside the womb, that's viability. That's what most people think of. And it's at the highest edge of like preemie or something like that. That is the realm where most people think about, elective abortions versus necessary ones and all that kind of shit, right? So that's the actual, when you're having a real conversation, that's what you're having. And Democrats could have that conversation, I think, respectfully and understanding what the fuck goes on. It's why we are able to talk about this stuff. Republicans can't, because they have courted extremists for so fucking long that no matter what they say, it's kind of like the TikTok video we looked at yesterday, the people on the Blaze responding to TikTok. They had no idea how to even talk about something that should be fairly cut and dry from their point of view, because they painted themselves into this weird fucking corner with their own viewers where they can't, unless Trump tells them what side to be on and he sticks to it, which is the other thing, they don't know what their opinion is. Do we have a Russian bot in here? Okay. That's okay. Here's the thing. I haven't welcomed the trolls in a long time. Hi, trolls. Welcome. Thank you. I want to thank you very much for expanding the show into other realms, giving us a breadth in the interwebs, allowing us to go to areas and show up in the this person also watched this feed, showing up in your what's live right now, what you're watching will show up in your feed that other people might watch, that it's there. Now, obviously, if you're a troll and you're sitting at a troll farm, that's what you do. So they know the show, they know what I'm doing here, and they know how we feel, and they've got their own issues, I suppose. But that's fine. That's all right. I'd rather have people here expressing themselves, productively, even if they're assholes, than, resorting to violence or whatever. So we're having a conversation. I'm totally good. Trolls are very funny, and they are harmless. This is sorry, you're giving spam bots a pass, and I don't know these are spam bots. I'm not talking about spam bots. I'm talking about actual trolling. If we have a spam bot, I usually knock those out. Those are usually the people that are, Nadunche Dimba cured my AIDS with some special water from his taint, and you can call this WhatsApp number. Like, those are the bots. Those I kick out all the time when we find them. But when it's, when it's just standard, yeah. Or remember we used to get hit all the time with the dating ones. Remember that shit? Where'd they go? Were we ever so young? Remember that? It used to be that was a trend for a while, I guess. And I think largely like YouTube went after them and started kicking them off, because we had to go through multiple times and punt those guys. And then finally, I think, YouTube caught on, right? Yeah, the porn bots started getting booted, which is very helpful. See, algorithms can be good for something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The trolls are seeking Phil. That might be it, that they're expecting him to be on. Show us audio clip. Oh, yeah. You mean the drag gif? Yes, this is for all the Russian trolls. This is for you guys. Just to make you uncomfortable. Yeah. Yes, I am very pretty. So, yeah, this is. I should just show this whenever we get like a right winger in there. I should just play it on a loop, just like. Anyways, while I'm talking, just so that they're like, "God, stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" AI. Yes, you're right, Wes. I am proud of it, but I'm also proud of the impact that it has on all the right people and on all the wrong people, which is fun. So yeah, it's not a big, Thanks very much. I agree. I just got 2 guilty pleas for insider trading regarding Trump's MTG. Oh, look at that. Hold on. The MTG pack. Hold on. No. Let's see if I can scroll this. Where was that? Oh, this one right here. 2 guilty pleas for insider trading regarding Trump's MTG and SPAC, the Media and Technology Group. Let's see that. SDNY, Trump, MTG. That'll look like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's see, insider trading. I'll just do that. That should find it. Yeah, and that was nice. Obviously, they were railroaded. Hold on, I've got to sign in with this business. Dun-ka-dun. So this is what you're talking about here, I'm guessing. Two brothers in Trump media insider trading scheme plead guilty. Michael and Gerald Schwartzman, who had originally pleaded not guilty to securities fraud charges, each pled guilty to one count of securities fraud. Two brothers from Miami. Why is it all fucking Florida man? I have to add these fuckers in here. Pled guilty in a federal court in Manhattan for the role in a nearly $23 million insider trading scheme surrounding the 2021 announcement that former President Donald Trump's social media company planned to merge with cash-rich shell company. Yeah, because it was an open secret and everybody knew it. Michael and Gerald Schwartzman, who pleaded not guilty to securities fraud last summer, were set to go on trial early this month, but the brothers decided this week to forego a trial instead because it was obvious. Each man pleaded guilty to one count, according to federal prosecutors. Michael was the mastermind of the scheme to profit from the announcement in October 21 that they planned to merge with Digital World Acquisition Corporation, which a lot of us knew too, but maybe they knew just the week before. The authorities charged Michael Schwartzman, 53, a year younger than me, a Miami financier, with making $18.2 million in illicit trading profits, and his brother, 46, who owns an outdoor furnishing store in Miami, with raking in $4.6 million. Michael Schwartzman, who ran a venture investment firm called Rocket One, excuse me, I have a cat hair on my nose, used one of the proceeds from the scheme to buy a $14 million luxury yacht that he named Provocateur. Did he now? Brothers each face prison sentences of up to 20 years. Ouch! Their plea agreements with the government recommended a sentence of roughly 4 to 5 years for Michael and 3 to 4 years for Gerald, which means they'll serve half that. Fruits of crime. That's right, Wolf. It's the fruits of crime they've been charged with. The fruits of crime. Judge Lynn is not bound by those recommendations. Brothers are Canadian citizens and could face deportation at the end of the sentence. We're kicking these. It's migrant crime. That's what this is. I wonder if Trump's going to add these guys to his migrant crime story. Also, terrible. They're Venezuelans murdering. There's a bloodbath out there. And then, of course, fruits of crime. The migrants, right, from Canada. Let's see, I understand these trades were unlawful. Part of their plea agreements. They're forfeiting the trading gains, and he's going to hand over the yacht to the government. The poor yacht. Yacht. Raymond Luxury Yacht. A third man charged in the scheme, Bruce Gerlich, who had worked at Rocket One, is scheduled to go on trial at the end of the month. They already said they made less than $50,000, but was critical in giving the brothers non-public inside information about the merger talks between Trump Media and Digital World. He was a former hedge manager, became a board member of Digital World before it went public, but after Rocket One had become an investor, a lawyer for Gerlich did not respond. Trump Media, the parent company of the social media platform Truth Social, completed its merger with Digital World. Okay, so this guy worked for Digital World and told his brothers about it, and they bought right before it came in, and then they sold everything once the merger happened. And it jumped in worth or whatever. They, while Marjorie Taylor Greene lost money, pretty funny. Not surprising at all. I mean, the surprising part is that anybody's still convinced it's worth anything. Let's see. This is, one second. Yeah, Phil is under the weather today. That's right. Shit, social. There is also, let me see if I can, So, let's see. One of the, by the way, a U.S.-Russian journalist has, hold on, besides, yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can find. So some people, there we go. Some people are aware of Evan Gershkovich, the American reporter who's being held. He's a Wall Street Journal reporter. And where'd you go? Oh, she's over here. Yeah, here he is. People are aware of him, and there's been efforts to get him out for a while now. He's been in there for a year. But there is also, I'm trying to find, another woman named Alsu Kurmasheva. She's an editor for Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty's Tatar Bashkir service. She's being held for 2 more months, and is who holds U.S. and Russian citizen, who's been accused of failing to register as a foreign agent and spreading false information about the Russian military in a case widely seen as part of the Kremlin's unrelenting crackdown on dissent of free speech. But that's what says to maggots, Putin is a strong guy. He's strong. He's strong and sharp as a tack, and he's got nothing to fear because he's brave and strong and brave. That he has to jail this woman for 2 more months for what she said. She didn't share she didn't share classified information. She didn't engage in subterfuge to release classified or information or troop movements or anything. No, just flat out jailing her for the job she holds. Yep. She was an editor. She was charged with failing to register as a foreign agent while collecting information about the Russian military. Later, which means interviewing people, which she was also charged with spreading false information about the Russian military. What, did she tell everybody that it was the second biggest military in the world and that they were actually really strong and butch and powerful and Ukraine wouldn't kick their ass at all? What do you mean she was lying? Did she just tell the truth? That's what you mean? Yeah. Anyways, so that's 2 now. And that's, so anybody who's telling you over and over again that, like Jimmy Dore does, that America is the source of all the problems in the world and that, we don't have any freedoms anymore and we're basically China, that shit. I recommend that they move to Russia or China and let us know how that works out. Because if you think they're kissing Putin or Xi's ass right now, wait till their life depends on it inside the country. Again, I've said many times, it's not an America love it or leave it kind of a thing. If you don't have to, disregard America's failings to live here. You can complain all you fucking want. But if you think it's the source of all the evil in the world, I don't understand what you're still doing here. That says more about you. Because I got to tell you, if I was in a country that I thought was the source of all the evil in the world, I'd fucking move. Right? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you get out? That seems logical, right? I mean, if it was the 3rd worst in the world, maybe you'd stick around and try to find wait until a nice piece of beach property opens someplace. But if it was the singular worst, like Jimmy Dore literally says, America is the source of all terrorism in the world. If you really believed that, would you still be here? I got to chalk that one up with the Alex Jones bullshit, right? And leave your $9 million house. Leather goddess for football. You might be onto something. Yeah. Might. Yeah, I think I see. I'm picking up what you're laying down. But, it's the same thing with like Alex Jones. Like, if you really believed, if anything that Alex Jones said was true, he'd have been dead a long time ago. Any of it. If anything he says is true, how is he still alive? If there was really this Illuminati group, there's only one way. There's only one way. That's it. What's that one way? That he works for them. For all of what he says or any of what he says to be true and him to still be alive, that means that they let him say some stuff and then flood the rest of the zone with bullshit, and he serves a purpose, and so they want him here because But I don't understand at all where these guys come from. Somebody asked for this. Hold on one second. Jamie, put up that thing. Put up the video about where Alex Jones says a bunch of stuff about them trying to kill him like 15 years ago, and then put up that video about him like eating out at a restaurant with his wife and going to dinner, and then put up that video that like that would be impossible if aliens baby eaters ran the world? Or did I smoke that? I smoked that video. I did. I'm sorry. That's not a video. Go back. Oh my God, I'm alone in here. How did that even happen? Jamie, put up that video of me sleeping. I just want to watch myself dream to see if I blurt out anything that sounds like the show. Hal, as you know, has a big... Yes. It's you got to pronounce it correctly, though. I think it's here. Where is it? Yeah, I think it's this one.
Very large brain.
Uh-huh. I do. I have a very large...
Very large brain.
And a teensy-tiny...
Asshole.
No, that's not. That's the wrong button. All right, I don't know why I tell you this. So ridiculous. Lost electric severe. Oh my gosh. Severe electric storm. Be careful, Andrea. By the way, my mom is fine, everybody. Just folks were worried because they had a tornado warning in Kentucky. She's just fine. It's all right. So. Oh, and by the way, it's bad enough. I know. I feel like a bit of a dick. I do. I feel like a bit of a dick because already I showed people the presidential podium with Bernie standing behind it. And I can only imagine the flop sweat that's happening out in Maggot Town. But should I do it twice in one shot? Fuck it. Yeah, sure. Why not? This is sorry. I know you're upset. I know this is... Hold on. I got to fix this for the Insta people. There we go. I have to shrink this down because for whatever reason it doesn't. There we go. Isn't that better? Damn it! Why won't this place fail? Oh gosh, Kara, I hope you're okay. And that everyone you know is okay. Okay. Sure, atheists in Kentucky? I suppose, sure. I guess they're ever. Yeah, worst economy ever. That's right. It's terrible. It's so terrible that the Fed won't even be able to lower interest rates because the economy's still too hot. God damn it. U.S. private sector hiring came in well above expectations last month. Payroll firm ADP said Wednesday, yeah, but they probably have government contracts and you can't show them. With construction, financial services, and manufacturing all contributing to the increase. Ouch! Oh, God. Oh. Are you okay, maggots? Are you going to be all right? I don't... Look, this has been a rough show for you today. Maybe... I would suggest I might have to sell my own, Hal Sparks Megaworldwide fainting couches for the maggot at heart. Because this is, man, it's a rough morning for you fucking guys. First, I was nice to Lauren Boebert and wished her well. You can't explain that. That's chipping away at your brain, and I genuinely meant it, which has got to be, good Lord, how you're recovering. And then Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden talking together about lowering prescription drug costs when Trump's blathered about it for 4 fucking years and never... Oh, thanks, Arizona Sunflowers. Never actually did anything about it. And now this. Ouch. Oh, and it's like, that's bad enough. Because you probably saw this and you're like, yeah, government jobs or some bullshit. It's probably some government shit. Government jobs. Construction, financial services, and manufacturing. Oh, God. That's just, gotta be. You okay? You all right? I'm just telling you. You know what? You should use this as kind of like think of this as putting your toe back in the water of the reality of how America is doing, because I got news for you. Still, if you let Trump bullshit you about how the country is doing and all this stuff all the way to fucking November, you're going to be in for a horrible fucking shock. God damn. Make a Hal Sparks branded fainting couch. I think it would sell. I think it would. Did she blow a hand? Simmer down. Steve, you can't tax churches because if you tax churches, then they also have the same rights as you do. Then as organizations, they don't have to act outside of that. Then they can take the money that they automatically will get, and they'll be able to invest it even still. Also, define profits for churches. How do you do it? It's it's such a weird thing. Like I know it's kind of like it's just become a talking point for a long time, and it just doesn't work. Just put that aside. The mega churches doesn't matter. Those guys get taxed on their planes and all that kind of shit. An individual preacher should be taxed though if he makes above a certain point. I think that's because the churches will have representation in a way that they do not now. It's what the Johnson rule was starting to do, but that was initially what it was all about. That's why you want them separate, because you don't want them taking over. The minute you tax them, then welcome to the Google version of church, because they will have then lobbying starts, then direct patronage of specific candidates happens, and they automatically have, because of tithes, a guaranteed income stream. They don't have to better the product. They don't have to change any of it. It's always going to be there. So just letting you know, that's what will happen. Ukraine is blowing up Russian oil refineries. They set a record. 800 miles inside Russia. They hit a transit station for oil and gas, which is really the big deal. Anyways, private sector employment rose by 184,000 in March. Rose by it in a month. But the jobs went up on. This was sharply above the market predictions of 150,000 new jobs, according to Briefing.com. ADP also revised up February jobs data from 140 to 155. The hot jobs data will be received well by the Biden administration as it seeks to talk up the president's economic record, but it also signals to the Federal Reserve, this is locked in years long battle against high inflation. Labor market remains in a good place, reducing the likelihood of an early start to interest rate cuts. That's the thing. Now, here's the other thing. Interest rate cuts are the big talk of Wall Street. And the minute it happens, there's going to be this flood into investments because people are like, oh, fuck, free money. So once the investment structure gets higher, it's already higher. Once it gets measurably higher, like where the cost of borrowing money versus the index on investment, if the index is higher than the rate of borrowing money, then giant institutional investors can do long-form loans of just straight up cash, put it in an index, and but for a fucking crash, they will make money on the deal, even if it's just a couple of percentage points, and they will just roll this money through. That's what the whole, same thing as having bonds and T-bills and stuff, but it's done in the stock market. Happens, that's the balancing act. It's always the balancing act between the two of these things. And if the rate goes down to this point, you borrow, now it's cheaper to borrow this money than the return what you're getting on the index. Specifically and guaranteed, there's a measurable difference. It's not just half a point or something. It's got to be a point or two, and that's where they're looking for it. It already is close. It's already below it. But if it drops another half a point, then it's like, oh, shit, we can borrow money, put it in the stock market, which is going up at a steady rate over time. And by the time we have to pay this shit back, we're making money on it. And nothing ever happened. It's just borrowed money, making money in investments without ever having, it's not even your money. Trump's done this with properties in certain areas where you just sit on it and let the fucking place rot as the area around it goes up, and then you sell it to somebody who wants to knock it down. It's a similar thing with stocks, and it's why there was like a real estate boom with like shitty properties being built, or McMansions, for example. That's because the rate, the cost of building and the cost of borrowing money was so out of fucking whack. When it narrows, then you start seeing, normal housing built again and that kind of stuff, like normal, like regular projects. But when it's cattywampus, then you see, the kind of Trump Tower-y kind of shit that remain empty, by the way, full of foreign investment, empty buildings, which also drive up the cost of living in downtown areas and the cost of business properties in the area too. Because if there are only 10 places on the market and 5 of them aren't available anymore, then everybody's compete, and there's 8 people that need them. Then the cost of those 5 goes up until until 3 of the people drop out of the running, right? And that's who you get. That's how you determine that worth. Well, if you had 10 places open and only 8 people were interested, what would that do to the price? Right? That's what they're always trying to avoid. That's that balancing point. Yeah. Phil is under the weather, so he will be with us again. If you just got here, hi, how are you? Welcome. All's well. But he's just he's nursing a cold. There's a lot of gunk going around, so hopefully he's okay. By Saturday. But we just wanted to get some rest and drink some, I don't know, what like Ukrainian teas are out there or something, that kind of thing. Churches poison humans. Thalassic measure, no, they don't. No. Bad anything. That's like saying teachers poison minds. I often find that people on our side of the aisle speak of church the way right-wingers talk about public school. Are there bad teachers and bad pastors? Absolutely. Is there a way that the things taught in those places can be weaponized or diverted so that they are not helping a person? Of course. Are the vast majority of people who go through both of those institutions functional human beings that you interact with all the time that are quite lovely? Yes. So knock it the fuck off. You're not building any bridges, and you're not solving any problems with that shit. Seriously. Yeah. Well, churches poison the grass, that poison the dandelions, that people eating bees eat. Right. There you go. You can't say big tent and diversity is our strength if you're like, anybody who has religious beliefs is a fucking moron. Like, it doesn't work that way. You just, what it does is turns you into a liar. And nobody can live with that kind of cognitive dissonance without becoming angry all the time. Yeah? Understand? You'd be able to let you know the brand of camera used during your live stream. Yeah, well, actually, right now, I'm just using the Elgato Facecam Pro in this guy. Because it works out pretty well. It's a little webcam-y, but for my purposes, because I want to cut myself out of a green screen, the contrast on it is high enough that I can do that. It makes my hair and my shirts a little darker, like hot black than they should be. It should be a little bit lighter than that, but it helps me so that I don't have a green hue around myself when my hair's down. That's always a problem. If you wear your hair down, use a green screen. It's an issue all the time. So anyways, thanks, VJ Kodak. I try. It's, it's pretty straight on. And then obviously, I have a lot of, like LUTs and stuff that correct. Because if I turn off the LUTs, this is what my real face looks like. See, so this is what I normally look like. And so there's a couple of things that it allows me to do that, it's like it gives you like makeup and, makes you look a little fresher than that. So I turn that. This is with the filter turned on. This is with the filter turned off. This is what I look like out and about. And this is what I look like on the show. See what I mean? So it's a really good camera for that in that regard. Just so you know. Sorry. I'm kidding. That's not what I really look like. This is. All right, this is my real face. This is what if I turned off the whole thing. And I put an AI filter on, it makes my voice sound better. So, thanks to AI, I can look like this, which is nice, Yeah, it was kind of cowardly lying, Maria. That was. I don't know why that came out of that face, but it seemed to fit. I think it was because I had to tuck my lips over my teeth to hide them because I already have a set of teeth in that look. My God. Right? That seems to make sense. Possibly, right? Yeah. You gotta love Snapcam. You gotta love a hacked version of Snapcam because they don't even allow it anymore on computer. It's only available on social. And God, fuck, if I had to route my camera through my goddamn phone, what a Jesus Christ. Talking about an unnecessary expense. I'm scaring the kids. You bet your ass. I'll do Don Jr. That's it's funny, like, the Don Jr. thing, where is he? He's down here. Is also, like, my Kenny Loggins. Highway to the danger zone. Gonna take a ride in. All right, see what I mean? Guys, send in $5, guys. We're broke as fuck, guys. Guys, but they're going after my father, but guys, my father, and they just, because they hate him and their political opponent and weaponized, and guys, I'm trying to learn my dad's head gestures, guys. Did I say that John Holmes what? Probably not. Whatever it is, probably not. Okay, Charles Bronson after a bad fight. That's funny. I sing better than Lara. Well, I mean, I guess so. But I mean, you're scary with that beard. I'm sorry, Arizona Sunflowers. I'm alright. Don't nobody worry about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Why don't you let me do what you want? All right, sorry. Yeah, I don't know what Laura Trump's singing voice is like. Neither do you, because she's so fucking auto-tuned. And I'm not going to play the clip. I swear to God, I think this is part of a troll, because I think she posts that shit because she knows people will talk about it and probably have to play a clip of it to show how embarrassing and shitty it is, and she gets money when it happens. Right? Just copyright strike anybody who played it and fuck with her, right? I'm not going to play it. Fuck that. No. But honest to God, you don't know what her singing voice is like. You can guess it's either sharp or flat, but you really don't fucking know. My guess is flat. I'm going with flat. With the occasional sharp note, but mostly flat, dull. You know what I'm talking about? I think you do. Yeah. So... Sorry, the Southern white evangelical sermons are not what you think they are. They're shy. No, why? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? First of all, I'm from Kentucky. You don't think I'm familiar with Southern white evangelical sermons? I am absolutely familiar, Tammy. I am also not willing to lump all the Lutherans and Methodists and Episcopalians and Catholics or whatever just because an evangelical is saying some shit. Unless, of course, you want me to assume that all Muslims are Islamist jihadists. Because that's the same thing. If every preacher is on the hook for the worst you can find, then every Muslim is on the hook for every imam that's calling for the destruction of every Jew on the planet, right? Yeah? How isn't believing in an afterlife required to join a Mason? You can't be non-spiritual and Mason. Yes, you have to. You have to believe in something beyond this world. Yeah, you have to have. There are no atheists and atheist Masons, right? So yeah, I don't. That's what I mean. I like. That's what I'm pushing back against. That's what I. Sorry. Who's making hell angry? Oh, sorry. I try to be fairly nuanced about this shit. Steph plays the singing dog with Laura Trump. It's like, okay, yeah, that'd be one way around it, I guess. Right? 80% of evangelicals support Trump, is what you're saying? Yeah, and you do realize there's a reason why they're called evangelicals specifically. They are the sales force of end times Christianity. That's what evangelicals believe. That you've got to sell everybody on Christ. That's why you're evangelizing. You're on a constant mission to evangelize everyone, because if you don't get them to accept Jesus Christ, he's going to be here any fucking day. And you got to get at it. And they either got to make their decision, shit or get off the pot. from a Jesus standpoint. That's what evangelicals are based on. That's what the evangelical church is the essence of. That's not what Lutherans or Methodists or Episcopalians or any of these other groups believe. Yeah, evangelicals don't practice Christianity. They're sales, right? It's sales. And Dominionists can even be different. There's another branch of that shit too. So what's in that Mason Bible? I'd tell you, but I'd have to kill you, Robin. I'm just kidding. Are they fatalists? Yeah, Jesus coming, look busy. Yeah, that's the idea. Is that it's a softened version of the original John Edwards, like sinners in the Calvinists, sinners in the hands of an angry God, and the idea that you dangle like a spider on a single thread over a fire, and but for the grace of God, He doesn't drop you into the fire. You have to prove your constant worth. That's what the really suck up hymns were all about. You're just apologizing to God all the time, which is not the same thing as being remorseful or asking for forgiveness. It's trying to suck up, brown nose your way into heaven. Essentially, that shit is, and that it's a very specific ideology. Evangelicals are a very specific ideology. They are not baseline Christians. And because they're in the sales department, they have more sales outlets. They have the Walmart churches versus the strip mall and the middle class churches. And what has happened is, if you look at Walmart as killing the mom and pop stores, mega churches and evangelicals have killed the mom and pop churches. Same business model, right? Spicy Dragon. Jews don't believe in hell. I don't believe in. The whole idea of threatening your followers isn't the same thing. It's a reward or a punishment not based on what God does to you, but He sets the rules and it's up to you where you go. That's the free will part of Christianity. Is that these things are clearly bad. These are mortal sins. We agree. Rape, murder, these kind of things. And if you commit these things, then your existence will be hell forever. It's not even that God there's a judgment day. That's a new neo-Christic idea. It's that because of your behavior, because of who you are, that's what your eternity is like. Now, from a simulation hypothesis idea, is that if you keep coming back to Earth in your sim and you keep being a monster, they're eventually just going to unplug you or something, I guess. Flush you like in the Matrix would be the idea. And that's the same thing. It's not even about whether God punishes you or judges you. It's just them's the rules, right? The other stuff, the constant praising and all that kind of stuff, is something that is dreamt up by people who make a living off of it. We're all going to hell. Yes, welcome to hell. At this point, there should be an explosion behind me and I give you the Jericho, as it were. We create our energy. Well, I would argue it's a similar kind of explanation that I would give for people who misunderstand the concept of astrology. You don't have certain character traits and are a Libra because you were born during these dates. You were born during these dates because you have those traits. Does that make sense? You had them on the other side. You came here. That's when you show up. There's a portal in the sky that's constantly changing in shape, and you can only go through when it's shaped like a triangle, or you can only go through when it's shaped like a square, because that's who you are. And that's how you enter the earth plane. It's not that you were born here and now all of a sudden you've been zapped with fucking Aries rays or fucking Capricorn rays or some shit like that. You're that, and when you come to Earth, this is when the Capricorn plane lands, and we know where your destination was from. Does that make sense? It's just weird. And you don't have to believe in it. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's weird that people think it's the inversion and they disbelieve it because of that issue that they have. Right? Does that make sense? They're like, I'm not because my birthday was on a certain date, I'm this way. That's why astrology is dumb. It's not the point. You can still think it's dumb, but it's not dumb for you. The reason you think it is, it's just you're mistaken in your dumbness. Yeah, right. That's not how it works, and that's not what people who really get into it believe. And so if you, like the evangelical thing, if you overlay that on your belief, you have disdain for someone's misapprehensions based on your inappropriate reading or mistaken version of their misapprehension that you believe they have. Yes? Okay. I'm just saying, be nice to people. It's okay. As we say in Masonry, everyone is entitled to their own unique mistake. And as long as your behavior in and amongst the world leads people to, if they ever dig up your grave and they hold your skull in their hands and they go, I don't know whether they were a Democrat or a Republican or whatever, but you can tell by the monument and the family lineage that people gave a shit about this person because they did some good stuff. That's what you want. We're all equal in that regard. We're all going to have our bones cleaned one day, and none of us should be in a hurry for ourselves or anybody else to get to that, right? Sometimes niceness doesn't work. Well, that's well, it depends on what you mean. Define the work of it, Rose. Right? Work for what? Work for what you want? Work in the time frame that you said. And also, maybe it's not nice to let somebody get away with something. I have this bit in my stand-up act that I do every so often. It's one of those things I'm still tweaking around the edges, but the difference between niceness and kindness, and essentially the example I give is like, let's say I'm standing in line behind someone at Starbucks and they're being a dick. They're complaining to the staff because the line's long and they're angry and they're just kind of venting and they're just kind of bristly and making everybody's day uncomfortable, and we're all just trying to recognize that the people behind the counter are working as hard as they can, and there's a lot and it's early in the morning, and of course there's a line because everybody wants this stuff, and if we want something else, we could go someplace else, but we're all there, so we just kind of deal with the line as it is, because patiently let these folks get to us when they can, and they're doing their best. And so the nice thing, if this person is being a dick, would be to recognize maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they just, it's, a series of things in their life have made them uncomfortable, and now they're out in public and they're acting out because of a bunch of stuff. And it would be nice if we all recognize that sometimes our fellow humans go through these moments and just let it slide. That would be the nice response. The kind response would be to kill that person who's irritating everyone else. It's a kindness to everyone else. Now, that's the joke, obviously. That's the truncated version of it. It would be nice to let them live, but it would be kind if we didn't. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind, is the phrase. And I think that's one of the ways to do it. So, hence the joke. But the idea being is that, in the seed of that is that it's not always nice to let people get away with their shit. It's not always nice to let people think that their behavior is okay. That's not nice. Somebody's out in public and they're being a fucking asshole. Is it nice to let them think that that's accepted? That's not nice. Certainly not nice to the next people they run into, where they think this is perfectly acceptable and nobody's going to push back on it, right? That's not nice. Right. That's right. Be nice in the Patrick Swayze way. Yeah, that's right. That's why I get upset with evangelicals, because they want to take away people's free will. Yeah, well, they don't believe people have free will. That's the weird part. It's part of the sinners in the hands of an angry God thing. They don't quite know what they believe. They're just scared that they're wrong. And everybody's been in that position. They just have frozen there for a period of time. Eat the rich. But by the way, I'm not a huge, you'll find out over time that I'm not a big fan of hashtags and dummy phrases if I haven't come up with them myself. If I say something and I repeat it all the time or I pass it on, then I'm good with it. But if it's just something that's just, I don't know, whatever, become a run-of-the-mill accepted shorthand for stuff, then oftentimes I will bristle at it. Because it should be abundantly clear by the nature of this show that I'm one of those actually people. I've just found a way to do good with it in my life. You know what I mean? The people are like, actually, okay, I'm that person in my life, right? But I try to, I've put it here where I feel like it's useful You know what I mean? It's like being like having a really loud, powerful voice, and you become a singer instead of just yelling in stores or something, right? There's a difference. Like, yes, I have a powerful voice, so let's use it for something instead of just getting rid of it. Yes, use your powers for good. That's right. So I've taken my actually, and I basically do that here on the show. I basically do that on the show, right? I just do it to maggots and right wingers because I find them on the edges of wrong quite a bit. But when we are talking to our folks on our side of the aisle, I'm not going to let people just get a fucking pass if they talk shit or are talking out of their ass, because it wouldn't be nice of me to let you go out making that mistake over and over again. Now, if you disagree with me and you continue to say it, that's totally different. But if I can alleviate you of a misapprehension and you go about your day with new information, that's better, right? That's why, when people come up to me sometimes after stand-up shows and they're like, hey, they pull a dude from The Big Lebowski on me. They're like, yeah, that's just like your opinion, man. Of course it's my opinion. I have a responsibility, I think, to give you my opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not half-assed, rubber stamping somebody else's. I'm not copying someone else's opinion. If I've come to the same opinion as somebody else, cool. But I'm not getting it from them. I am taking in as many details as I possibly can about something, and because I am who I am, expressing truthfully what I believe. It's why I don't do fucking clickbait thumbnails. It's why I don't bullshit my titles. It's why I don't seek audience I don't deserve. That's it. And maybe I'm underselling myself and whatever, then so be it. But if I present you with an idea or something and you're like, I disagree, or this is the wrong side of history, or those kind of whatever, if you want to come to that conclusion, cool. But at least I gave it to you honestly and from my point of view, right? For real. As opposed to, people might get upset if I say this, so I got to tamp this shit down a little bit. And we went through this with the Kyle Rittenhouse shit, and we went, even I'm sure over Israel and Gaza, I still see some of that shit in the chat room. But I'm not gonna let you carry a bucket of lies around that especially when I think you're a good person, and I think you actually mean well, and I think you actually want to make changes in the world, but I also know you're headed towards a rake if you believe something that isn't true or doesn't support your argument. And eventually, you're going to run into someone who's got the answer to the question you think is unanswerable, or you believe you have the answer to and you're wrong. And that's not going to just, by the way, undermine your position about that issue, and maybe do one of two things. It will either make you, quiet you about the things you care about, which is not the fucking point, or it will embarrass you, and on behalf of everybody, it'll become like a Libs of TikTok moment where they're able to use a clip of you talking about something, and you're talking out of your ass, and they use it against everybody else, which happens all the time. Or you post something, and then you find out they've taken your post and like, see, these assholes believe something that is materially not true, and then they spread it all over the place. It is my goal to provide you with an alternative view to that from the same ethical base in those cases where I might think you're off beat, and you're certainly welcome to do those to me, but I will always answer back to what I think. I will always stand by what I say, and if I change my opinion, it will be because circumstances have changed, not because my ethics or my morals have changed if that makes sense. But I'm not going to let people just walk around being wrong, because in a cul-de-sac of ideas, you can be wrong and nobody will call you on it. Other than that, I have no opinion. But I think the most important thing of all, I guess, would be vote for Joe Biden in the fall. Stop fucking around. Is actually just vote like you give a shit. Don't vote like you're giving your parents the middle finger. Vote for the real thing that will have the real impact in the real world. Make the fact that adults vote matter. Right? And if that means you're voting, if you're voting against what I think, then do it. Because I would rather have somebody engaged in the political process for real. And Frangela couldn't be on today, Leather Goddess of Phobos. I think we're going to try to get them on in the future, but they weren't available today. We'll get them. Don't worry. Even if I have to have them on the Saturday show and just have them come over to the hotel room when I'm doing my show on the road while we're doing Sexy Liberal, which may happen more often than not. Quite frankly, I'm going to bring a second microphone on the road with me just in case I can have them come on for, part of the show, which would be really awesome. I think as a regular rotation, I think that'd be kind of cool while we're out doing the Sexy Liberals, because they're all on a Saturday. So that's where I'm coming from. That's what I'm presenting to the world. And that's why I'm voting for Biden again. And that because I'm an adult with a child, and I want that child to grow up in a world that is getting better all the time because of me actually making a material difference instead of, sandcastles in the sky in my fucking head, where I actually put brick and mortar together on a political level and actually do it. Right? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? We good? Yeah, we talked about Joe Flaherty. He passed away yesterday. Really sad, and just by all accounts, a lovely man, and not just because he was Canadian. Has anyone ever seen the Ruby Frank child abuse message, all based on religion? Yeah, but that's like saying that again. Do you think that this abuse doesn't happen with religion? I mean, again, abusers will use whatever's available there. It's one of the reasons why we have to be more aware about what I would call the naive loopholes that we put in things when we're advocating for something. Does that make sense? Because if you open the door, some bad people are gonna, you're gonna hold the door for some bad people at some point. So you got to put in specific checks and balances in there. That's one of the reasons why you want your government to kind of move a little slower than and you're not operating on a reactionary emergency level. Because if you do, what you're going to get is you're going to get a vote like Donald Trump. This is a great example. This is exactly how Donald Trump happened. Is that people wanted, they get frustrated because over time, they bought the stroke of the pen fallacy. They think that whoever they voted for, either because that person told them or because the other activist told them or something, or somebody told them that somebody in power had more power than they actually did, that they could just roll in and fucking sign something and everything would be better. But the reason they won't do it is because they're liars and you've been cheated and everybody turns against you. And we need to get somebody who's not part of the swamp or whatever in there, instead of going, oh, wait, there are other people in this fucking country and they don't agree with me. And it takes a little time to kind of mitigate these things. And if we can slowly but surely move it in the right direction, which is what we've always been doing, we can actually make some real progress that sticks instead of, quote unquote, just lash and backlash all the fucking time. And so what happens is you get a Donald Trump vote. You want your Pope's hold. That's true. You have a situation where you've got somebody like Donald Trump, where literally the only reason he got the votes that he did in the first place, in the first election, was because a bunch of people believed the stroke of the pen fallacy, believed that there was, the sort of narrative rubber stamp shit that was fed for decades about how government works and that it's too big and it should be simpler and all this kind of stuff, and the anti-complexity stuff that we see all the fucking time. And enough people bought it that they made they made an emergency vote in their head. This is what the Trump voter thought they were making. If we don't do something, this is fucking crazy. Which it's not how a giant ship like America works or any big country works. You can't spin it on a dime. And if you try, you'll do more damage than good. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. Russell Brand said that you're a fellow traveler. Did he? I hope not, because that would mean you would have, 3 or 4 credible sexual assault allegations against you? Ahoy. So, yikes. He probably meant something else. He probably just meant, you both smell like patchouli. Maybe that was it. Yeah, you can't knee-jerk react to stuff. And by the way, if you're a parent that parents like that, you'll understand over time. It's a terrible way You've got to plan how you're going to raise your kid. You have to make some decisions about the worth and the value and the focus of how you're going to raise your kids. You can't just go, I don't know, I'll see what happens tomorrow. See if he's hungry tomorrow. Doesn't work that way. How got me through the last touch up to my tattoo. I appreciate you. Oh, good, Jacqueline. Did you just lay there listening to it while I was just to avoid the... Hopefully there was no... it wasn't skin close to the bone. I understand that the resonance on those can be a bit rough sometimes, depending on the tuning of the actual tattoo needle. Depends on how high they wind up, right? Yeah, like wherever that note is. If it's your body's note, you're like, oh, God, you know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, start humming into your teeth and start raising the pitch until your teeth start to vibrate and they hurt a little bit. That's your note. You'll find that's fucking uncomfortable. That's how it works. Same thing is true. Yeah, how your son is the same age as my cousin. Oh, nice. Well, I hope your cousin is in the ballpark as lovely as my son is, but it's not because I'm leaving it up to fucking chance. Right? It's the head resonance, right? It's crucial. So anyways, I'll let you guys go. End of the show. See you guys later for the regular show. Thanks for hanging out with me for the whole, Hell knows but doesn't always practice. What do you mean? Because I don't have any tattoos? Right, Wes. I do not have any tattoos. But my girlfriend has a bunch, and my ex-girlfriend was a suicide girl, and she had a chest piece, and I helped her care for her new tattoos several times. I've been there. Again, I don't drink. I've never been drunk in my life, but I've driven a lot of people home safely, and I've held a lot of hair. So the idea that you have to be in on everything to understand it is just as dumb as if I don't know anything about murder. Doesn't mean you can't fucking commit it. Just because you're bad at something and it's your first time doesn't mean what you did wasn't awful. Yeah. So there you go. Which hair did you hold? Easy. Anyways, much love. I will see you guys later on this afternoon. Take care of yourself. And why don't I have any tattoos? I'll tell you later. Maybe. Actually, there is a good reason. Something specific happened, and this is why I don't have a tattoo. It's because... Bye.